Hey everybody, tonight I decided to go with the late game slate on Boom Fantasy. There's usually a main slate that starts at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. That's usually what I go with, but tonight I'm going with the 10 o'clock Eastern Time, and I really like some of the picks on this one. The first three questions, I think you can really gain an edge here. So I'm starting it off with question one. I think although Collison averages one fewer point per game on the season, I think a lot of people will be picking him because in his last four games he's averaging 20 points a game. But if you really dig into those games, he's just shooting a really high percentage from the field, and I don't think that you can expect that to continue. So I wouldn't read into those high numbers in the recent games too much. What I would read into is the Lakers' injury situation. They are going to be down Lonzo Ball, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and possibly Brandon Ingram and Kyle Kuzma. They're all banged up, and that means Jordan Clarkson should assume a ton of the usage on offense. He could be in for a huge game. I think he's definitely the guy you want in question one. And then even potentially in question six, you can get plus 10,000 bonus if Clarkson wins the assist category. He by far averages the least amount of assists of all those players, but he could be running the point for quite a bit with Ball and KCP out of the game. Josh Hart should see some time at the point, but don't expect to see Clarkson never coming up the floor with the ball. He loves to bring the ball up, and I wouldn't be surprised if he picks up quite a few assists. So that's an interesting plus 10,000 play, probably my favorite of the big underdogs on the board. And then moving on to question two, Bogdanovich has not broken 15 points in the last 12 days. I think you're going to need more than that to win this category, so he's out. And the same thing is true for Joe Ingles. I mean, he can fill up a stat sheet. He's good for fantasy, for salary type games, season long games. Not so good for this. This is only points. Joe Ingles hardly ever even gets into double digits. So that kind of leaves you with Rodney Hood or Hardaway. And Hood could win this. He puts up huge totals every now and then, but Hardaway is the most consistent. So if you want to kind of take the contrarian play, it would be Hood. And then you could also take Hood later with the most three-pointers if you wanted to pair them together. So that's an option that increases your correlations, which means as one thing happens, it helps you with another thing. So you could kill two birds with one stone. If Hood knocks down 5 threes, he'll probably score the most points in that tier, and then you'll get both. If you don't want to go that route, go with Hardaway. He's more consistent. He's put up big numbers in all 3 games since coming off an injury, so he's clearly doing well health-wise. So he's probably the favorite there. But like we said with Hood, you could gain an edge by picking him. The last question I want to talk about is question 3, where I think Julius Randle is an interesting option here. He doesn't average the most rebounds, but if all the Lakers miss the game, if the bigs miss, if Kuzma and Ingram are both out, then you're going to want to go with Randle. This doesn't lock until 10 o'clock, so you'll know before it starts if they're missing Kuzma. I think if Kuzma's out, you got to play Randle here, and if he's not, then I would probably avoid him, as other people will have already picked him, and they won't go back and change their lineup in time. So I think that's the strategy for that tier. This is a really good slate. I think everybody should try to play it who watches this video. A lot of good opportunities on this one. Good luck.